everyone, welcome back to the Better You podcast. Today I have a very special guest, Karmen. So Karmen and I we met when we were at high school. So it's been almost 12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, since we first met. And it's really nice that we kept in touch until today. I mean, although we are very busy, we actually met up a few times before this. Today's episode is about something different that I want to talk about is exploring hobbies for me and not the trend. This topic also will touch a bit about your identity and how we don't want to live up to the trend, but instead we continue to stay true to ourselves. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I first want to introduce our special guest, Karmen, and you can share a bit about
Yeah.
yourself.
Hi everyone, this is Karmen. I'm super excited to be here actually because when Patricia first approached me about, coming onto this podcast to talk about my hobbies, my first thought was like, why me? And why hobbies? Like, how is it important actually? And why is it prevalent in this current community and all? So I did some thought about it as well. And I have something to share with you guys, and I hope it also will help to get you thinking about picking up new hobbies and how important it is also to explore new things and being open to new things as well.
I just want to say before we begin, like I'm really grateful for having you here today, Carmen, because I feel like this is like you stepping also outside of your comfort zone, right?
Kind of.
And to be here today and share your experience, I think what you said is really true. Like a lot of listeners will benefit from today's episode, and they would of course be very excited to hear your own experience. Okay, so just maybe a ice breaking session. Maybe we can share first, like what are the hobbies that we've tried ourselves. Maybe I can go first. Is I've tried a few, and I'm still at the stage where I'm trying to explore what I truly like. But across my life, I've tried like pilates, rock climbing, yoga, pickleball, and there was a new hobby that we tried, like K-pop dance
Yeah.
class, when we last met up. I think that went really well and very fun. But all I can say is I'm not a dancer. I'm
Me
not.
too.
I'm not a born dancer. I think we both know that.
Yeah.
Maybe Kamal can share what you've tried before.
I think for me it would be like yoga, pilates, pickleball, tennis. I did pottery as well.
Wow.
Yeah, and also language learning. I started learning Korean for about a few months, and I even went to Korea just recently for about 3 months. I just came back, and that's when we also started talking about what like my key takeaways were, and how it was beneficial for us.
And I think in this episode, I really do want Kamal to share about her experience, like, going out of her comfort zone to go to Korea. It's like a different country. So that's something that Kamal perhaps can share, like, what the experience is like, because it also ties back to the whole idea about identity and how she really chased what she truly liked. Okay, interesting. So I think the first question is living in today's society, right? We are surrounded by all these social media. What are your thoughts then, Carmen? Like, do you think social media has changed how we choose our hobbies or interests?
I think to answer that question, I think there's both sides. And how we define hobby itself is also different. Maybe since young, when we were a kid, our parents would send us to tuition, like art class, swimming class. I also went all those, which I hated it.
The typical Asian parent.
Yes, like mental maths. I'm like,
Oh.
"Ugh, I hated all this." But to them, it was a hobby for us. But I think our key takeaway from that is also like how we got to know what we like and what we don't like. And also hobby to me itself is actually how I spend my time outside of my 9 to 5 or my day to day. What keeps me happy. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that would be productive for me, as long as I feel happy, and that's all. And how social media defines it, I think definitely there are some impact from like some influences, probably like the Pilates craze that we had a few years back, and then there's also pickleball, and now recently I think it was high rocks.
Oh, yes, I see that a lot on Instagram.
Yeah, but before social media was there, we probably wouldn't know like there are such things that are there.
Yeah.
So it's impacting in a good way where oh, these are the things that I can actually try, and probably I can bring my friends over and go try new things with me. And also you'll be surprised like how pickleball was a craze here. But when I was in South Korea, I had friends from like Spain, Russia. They were really familiar with what pickleball
Oh, is
was.
it?
Like
Oh,
there were probably like two pickleball courts in Seoul. I
okay.
mean, I just did a really brief research and that's all I know. So it's just like, how it's sort of like a trend in Malaysia.
Mm,
It's probably not in some other countries.
mm.
Yeah.
So I always thought that pickleball was a trend like in Asia or around the world. So it
Yeah.
looks like even within Asia, it's not really a big trend. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
probably in
something
like
interesting.
US. Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. I think in UK back there it was quite a craze
Oh.
also. So because I was in between like UK and
Mm.
Malaysia, I didn't really know what's outside of those countries. So that's really a interesting insight to know.
Mm, mm,
And I think tying back to whatever Carmen has said, like my thoughts on this, right? It's really just I think Carmen made a really good point. Like social media, if we look at it in a positive way, is knowing what is out there, like what opportunities is out there for us to explore, and maybe we can also improve our relationship with friends because through that we can invite friends to do all these new hobbies, to try out new things, and at the same time like find out, do we really like that, or is if there's any other sport that aligns more with us. But I think it's so funny because when you say like, oh, whatever our parents taught us, like that is so true, because before social media all I can think of is whatever my parents know I will know, like outside of that I probably won't even know.
Yeah, it's probably like on textbook or what are your hobbies? Oh,
Mm,
dancing, singing. But there's definitely more than that, and like what times has already
mm,
evolved so much. And I also think that that's another point where there's a lot of like micro communities built
mm.
by social media. Like for example, there's like
The run club.
running club,
Yeah.
so femininity group. So that's where I actually got to know a lot of other girls or other friends that have similar interests. Like for example, I picked up tennis because they have like a beginner to tennis class, and I was like, oh, tennis seems fun. And that's actually what really got me into tennis. So I bought a lot of tennis equipment mainly to keep me going into
Mm,
this sport because I know this is something that I like. So I
mm,
guess that really helps me to open my mind and also to understand like what are out there and a lot of
mm.
opportunities there. Yeah.
That's good. I remember when we met up that time, we went shopping for your tennis skirt. So it's really nice. It's a way also. Once you know you like something, you boost your interest and boost your confidence. You feel you're more out there. Yeah, I like how Carmen also made the point. Hobbies and interests is not really just about outside of your work, but it's also what you really like. So it's like just staying true to yourself and tying your whole identity back to what you really like as a person. Okay, interesting. The next question then I have for us is, why do you think so many people chase the aesthetic or Instagrammable hobbies? If you agree that we do.
To a certain extent, definitely there are people that actually just chase for the aesthetic, for the sake of it,
Mm.
to be Instagrammable and all. For example, like being the Pilates girls, like becoming that girl. It was
You have a
also
vibe, you have a vibe.
yeah, it was like a trend. Like oh, you need to wear Lululemon,
Mm.
aloe, and all.
Yes.
In some way, if you're not like strong enough, you probably would be affected by all these kind of things, and then you feel like you have to conform to this kind of community, otherwise you're not trendy or not up to trend. In a way, I mean, you get to experience new things. It's really up to you to continue this sport or not. It will be an experience at least. Yeah.
That's a very good way of you summarizing. Like, if you're not strong enough, then you will fall into that hole. And I think that was something that I personally felt like I was falling into back then. It's really interesting to see, like, if you truly don't know yourself, you would easily get tied into all this. Now let's say, like, for example, me, I've been more grounded in the way I carry myself and how I know myself. It's like all these things is like, okay, so long I don't like it, then I won't really follow the trend. And if yes, then it's something that maybe you have to ask yourself, like, okay, are you actually doing this because you want to fit in, or you really like it?
Like for example, tennis. It's an
This
expensive
is not,
sport
yeah, yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah, so like the racket, the court and
Mm,
everything, you need to get a coach to get into learning all this. If you're able to commit to all this and you know that it's something that you really like, I think it's worth being
investing
investing.
in
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong about investing, but it's most importantly is you're investing for yourself and not for others. Mm. Okay. Have you ever quit a hobby because it didn't align with your true self, even though everyone else loved it? Mm.
I think that's a really deep question. And
Oh,
it would
I love deep
somehow reveal
questions.
myself in front of
Oh.
everyone. I would say the K-pop dance.
Oh, K-pop dance.
Because
Oh, okay.
I mean it's really fun because I was never into dancing at all. Like since young, I was never like I was into K-pop at one like for a short period of time, and that's where we actually bonded.
K-pop.
Yeah. But with the K-pop dance, I realized that my body coordination is actually not really good for dancing. At least I couldn't really control myself. Like I know
Don't worry. Don't feel like I also feel the same way. We're all together. We're all together.
it's like, but I would think it was a really good experience, and I would probably still try again in a like long future, but not so soon.
For me, is like many hobbies that I've quit that were like trendy and also I've tried. I would say like I still haven't really found a hobby that I truly love, like physical activity wise. Because if you say like a hobby, it can be podcast, like that's something that I love. And then a hobby that is like, I don't know, and watching K drama, yes, that's something I love. But if you ask me to do something sports related, everyone around me knows like I'm the, oh my god, the last person to be involved. I mean, I used to be really harsh on myself to feel like, okay, I'm so behind, like I need to figure out something. And but now I've been kinder to myself to know, like, hey, it's okay. Like I have a whole lifetime to figure something out, and I'm never know, right? Like in 10 years, there may be a new sports that's coming up that it is for me. Yeah, I think I've forgone a lot of sports that say Pilates. No, I've tried it. But to be honest, I've talked to Karmen about this before. I've tried only 1 or 2 times and I've given up. Like, that's not the right way. I should be like, going consistently. And it's something that you will need to build the core over time. And you can't really expect like perfection in 1 to 2 times for you to know everything.
Yeah, I think it's the same as my K-pop as
K-pop,
well.
right? But like if you ask me if I want to go back again tomorrow, probably I will reconsider.
Maybe next year.
Next year, right? Next year. Yeah, I've also tried rock climbing and kayaking. I mean, that's a good, more like experiential sports, but I don't really see myself going like further with that. Okay, interesting. So, how do you think, right, Carmen, like trying new things can help someone reconnect with who they really are? Maybe this is a question that you can also bring in your experience in South Korea. Like, do you really feel like after that experience, after coming back, you found yourself again, or like you connected more with yourself?
It's a really deep question, about identity. To be honest, I'm actually still in the search of, finding identity, and I think it's the same for a lot of people. There's never like, a straight answer to that. So a bit of context. So 3 months ago, I actually went to Yonsei University in Seoul. So it's more like a Korean language intensive learning program. So there I learned Korean. I got to know like the basics and everything. I got to live with the locals, and also I've met a lot of international friends. Throughout all these 3 months, I got to know that probably I can live independently.
Oh,
Like
that's so good.
I have actually exchanged to Australia a few years back in uni, but that was during COVID, so it's kind of like
Not a full experience.
yeah,
I
not
feel.
yeah, not a full experience for me. So I feel like I probably can try going to another country again and see that how I can take care of myself well, and I feel like I did a pretty good job.
Yes, you definitely, you're like glowing. Okay, this is like the
Thanks.
first time we are meeting up after she came back.
Yeah.
And Carmen, can I just say, like Carmen looks so confident, and I'm just so happy for her. And like just tying back to her MBTI, I can see like the energy that she gives off is like more of herself.
Really?
And I think I can confidently say like the trip really went well.
Thanks.
Yeah.
A lot of things happened.
Oh, yeah,
so-
I'm sure that's good and bad lah. Even a lot of things happen, you came out of that more of yourself and stronger and more confident. Yeah.
With all this, I think it also is thanks to like my past self. I was studying hard to learn a bit of basics of Korean, and then managed to go to the second level, which is a bit more intermediate level. I am really thankful that all those hard work paid off. Learning a new language would definitely help you to open another horizon.
So are you like a native speaker already now, Korean level?
Not yet, but I'm able to speak with the locals. I've had
Wow.
like Korean friends. Yeah,
Wow, that's good. So meaning your Korean, if you watch a Korean drama, you know it's subtitles already.
yeah. I feel like I can
Wow.
read, but I mean, all this while I actually could understand a bit. Like my
Understand.
listening was better, but I actually learned a bit more like vocab, grammar. It's a bit more structured. and Yonsei. So if you go to Korea, I can be a tour guide lah.
Okay, okay. And also, these are more important. If Korean drama don't have subs up yet, I send to you. Can you translate to me straight away?
Can.
Oh my god, that's the most important one. Okay, I love it. I
Yeah,
love
but
it.
a lot of like a long way to go because I will still need to like study more to
Mm.
achieve that like professional level. Yeah.
Wow, so inspiring. Okay, thanks for sharing, Carmen. How can someone break free from the fear of judgment when exploring new interests? Okay, maybe to make it easier to understand for this question is basically to the listeners like how if they are feeling that way, how can they break free from that fear?
I've had people asking me the question on, am I not scared to go to an unfamiliar place alone? I use ClassPass, and I
Oh,
would
okay,
go
yeah,
to a
yes, I
lot of
remember.
like group classes, like for Pilates, yoga, and everything. People that actually go there actually usually are there either alone or probably with one or two other friends. At first, that definitely scares me a bit because I'm not familiar with the sport. I am not familiar with location, like the coach and everything. That is actually a phase that you need to go through. But
Mm,
the question is, if not now, when? Yeah,
yeah,
to do that. It's something that once you conquered it, you feel like, oh, it's actually really beneficial for me. And I just don't want to care about what other thing. Like if I do something wrong, like I mean I'm a beginner in that sport. I'm not a professional. So just focus on yourself.
yeah.
Like for me I wear specs. So if I took off my specs, I couldn't see anything else. So I just
Oh,
focus on myself in a mirror. And
wow.
that is something that, helped me adjust.
Help also, right? In
Yeah.
a way. Wow, that's so inspiring. For me, my answer would be like, just have fun. Like, you go there with the idea and with the mindset that you're there to have fun and not about how people might judge you. And also, if let's say what's stopping you is how your friends might perceive you if you were to share later on, like, oh, I've tried this new sport, I've tried this and that. But then to them, it's like, oh, they've not never heard of these sports before. But I think at the end of the day, is like whatever we've been talking about in the past few questions is like, do you truly like that sport? Like, do you truly like that hobby? If it's something that you like, go for it. You don't need to rely on another person to make that decision for you, I would say. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's your life. You are the master of your life, and you are building this life for yourself and not for the validation of others. How do you balance wanting to fit in with staying true to your own preferences? I think this is quite similar to like the previous question that we talked about. I think in order to find a balance of wanting to stay true or to fit in is really just going back to that whole idea about like how strong-minded you are with yourself. From my own personal experience, I won't be answering like this if you were to speak to the Batusha maybe like in 2020 or a few years back. If you feel like you don't really know yourself, that's something that you can consider or can think of is take a moment to find out more about yourself. And then from there, it will help you decide whether what you truly want is it you're doing it to fit in with others or to really stay true to yourself. It's also really hard to know personally what you are feeling. Is it this or that? But if you feel a certain way, don't be too harsh because it's all a learning journey and it's not an easy thing, but you wake up every day. Once you have that mindset, you will show up better for yourself. So I think the balance is really just getting to know yourself at whichever pace you feel comfortable. And then from there, you naturally will know whether you are doing things for your sake or for others.
I echo what Patricia said as well.
Mm.
And also, like, each of us have our own strengths and weaknesses. If you
Mm.
don't do well in this particular hobby, it's probably you probably would also do really good in some other hobby.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's not, it is an important part of your life, but don't be too harsh on yourself because there's
Yeah.
definitely more than what we know. Like there are tons of other things that you probably haven't explored yet.
That's so true. Like the world is so big. There's so many other sports out there in other countries that we may not know of, and there's always a spot out there for you. And I think something that I can think of is like you just imagine like a shape. If you're a certain shape, but you try to fit yourself in, let's say a triangle, but you're a star, it will never fit. But I think that's when don't be so harsh on yourself comes in because if it's not your shape, you can always find a shape that fits you. And similarly, another hobby will fit you and another sports will fit you.
I like that.
Someone actually shared that with me, and I think that stayed really well with me. What's a hobby you tried that surprised you? Something you didn't expect to enjoy?
I think you know the answer. It's tennis.
Yes, Carmen actually did like preempt us already at the start. Yeah,
Because like growing up, I didn't enjoy sports actually. Like
I think we both kind of trauma bonded in high school.
yeah, during
Like,
PE
oh
class,
no,
we were
that's
like no
my
sports.
my most disliked session. You know, like of all the classes.
And then I realized actually my N level is actually very low
Oh,
for sports. So I
ah.
can't actually do like aerobic exercises as well. Like
Mm,
I did like PT. I tried going to PT, like personal trainer session,
okay.
and I realized, oh, like I feel dizzy like after doing some push-ups and everything. I'm like, oh, and then the PT was like, you should go check your like my health report came out, or like, oh, my iron levels are actually pretty low. After that, I discovered tennis. It's also a very extreme and you need
Intensive
yeah,
sports.
intensive sport. Yeah, it boosts my dopamine actually. Yeah.
So would you say like something that surprised you about the sport is like you didn't expect yourself to fall in love with that sport?
Yeah.
The dopamine and I think actually makes you love it more.
Yeah, even though I'm actually probably not supposed to be doing all this kind of
With the-
sports, but I enjoy going to the courts. You know, if when you hear the poyong on your tennis racket, it's like, oh, okay, I managed to hit this.
Hit something.
Yeah, and it's a really difficult sport to be honest to start with. Yeah, so it did build my confidence as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still enjoy it. Yeah.
That's a very good way. I need to. I feel so inspired. I feel like next time I should try tennis. I actually haven't tried tennis before. I tried pickleball, but I really get the feeling when I think that's why people are so motivated. Once I hit like let's say in pickleball, so I hit something, it's like oh yes, and then it really helps like boost your confidence because you feel like you are capable of doing it.
Yeah.
For me, actually, I think kayaking.
Oh.
I actually tried aerial yoga, which is not something I've mentioned at the start. But yeah, I also became really dizzy. Maybe my iron level is not very good. But then I think kayaking because I'm actually quite scared of like water. I used to swim, but what has stopped me a lot in terms of doing all these intensive sports is like the fear of it not being safe, like the fear of like what if something happens and then I might get drowned or I might get hurt. That is the fear that has stopped me to do a lot of new things. But for kayaking, I went with my friends. Surprisingly, it was really fun. Like I think I enjoyed it because like nothing happened. And I think that in turn like gives you that hope and gives you that motivation that one another time you want to come back. But of course kayaking is not easy because you need a lot of like arm strength to do it. So at the start I was like really excited. So I was like, I go halfway into the river. Then after that coming back, I was like, okay, my friend was sitting behind me. I was like, okay, you take over. I have enough already. No more energy already to do all this. It looks easy, right? But because you see other people do it, I think until you try it, is really you will know it's not as easy and it can be challenging. It's just you continue to do it despite all of that.
How did you feel like right after kayaking?
I feel very proud of myself because me putting myself out there is also something that I give myself kudos to. Because I wouldn't really push myself out there if, like, let's say a few years back, me would never do it. But I think I was in that mindset, like, I want to try something new and I really want to be committed to that. So how I felt after it was like, yes, I've accomplished me putting myself there. And second is like, it's not as bad as it seemed. But yeah, I still think I need someone to be there with me in case, because I can't imagine myself going there and like, I okay to be alone, but it's just I don't think I have the energy or that stamina yet to be going there myself. Yeah.
I think the most important thing is how you feel after that. Like if you feel happy, it's something that you enjoy, you should definitely keep going.
Keep going,
Yeah,
right?
like for me, earlier I mentioned my body coordination is really bad. Like my tennis coach actually told me to go like train my body coordination because yeah, but at that point I was like a bit defeated, a bit sad. But I was like,
yeah, I'm sure.
I feel happy doing all this. Like even though I'm bad, I will still continue to do it. I mean, of course, I will improve over time. I'll find other ways to improve some body coordination and everything. But as long as I feel like I would think about it during my most stress period, it definitely is something that I will continue to do.
I think that's such a strong mindset that you have, and something the listeners can take away from today. What Carmen has just described is like, no matter what other people say, like for example her coach has said like, oh, you should improve your coordination first before you proceed to the next stage in tennis or whatsoever.
Yeah.
But she, because she felt like despite all that, she actually energized from this sport and she kept going. I think that's really inspiring and very admirable, I would say. Yeah, and then I'm sure that now you've exceeded already expectation, or even not his but yourself also, because you kept going.
Yeah, long way to go, but I would need to be committed on this sports because of the money I spent.
Oh, I think that's a way like some people do also, right? They
Yeah.
actually make sure they spend on a maybe expensive sports or gym so that they will continue to commit.
Yeah.
Because they already put in the money already.
Yeah.
Not the most sustainable way lah, I would say to others. Like you think first before you do. Do you believe there's value in being bad at something but still doing it for fun? I think it's actually flow naturally from whatever answer you gave, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I can share from my side, like if I had any experience where I wasn't really good at it, but I still continue to do it for fun. I think Pilates, because at the point when I was doing Pilates, I was still in the UK and I was going through very dark periods of my life, like personally. But I think I knew I wasn't good because, like I say, I only went there a few times, but I still kept pushing because it's just the energy that I felt when I was in the Pilates room. And see everyone, like they weren't caring about how they look in front of the mirror or like to others. Like everyone was just going there because they wanted to be like their best version of themselves. Like they just wanted to show up for themselves that day, to just burn whatever they need to burn, and also just get their mind off everything. That 1 hour session, it really helped me just block off the noise outside of like the world and really just commit to myself in 1 hour. And I actually had fun, even though it was really tiring. That comes for any sports.
You know how every time after a yoga session or a Pilates session, the instructor will be like, "Oh, thank yourself for coming."
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that is like after a really harsh session, I was about to give up halfway, and after hearing that, I'm like, "Oh, I'm just doing this for myself." Yeah, so even though I'm bad at it, I mean, thank you myself for traveling there, picking up time for all these kind of things. Yeah.
That's very important. Going back to your whole identity also. So long you like it, there's going to be ups and downs. But at the end of the day, because you're doing it for yourself and you yourself showing up no matter how tired or maybe you're going through a tough time, it's still something that you need to thank yourself for.
Yeah, you will get better at it. It's just a matter of time. Yeah.
What's a hobby or passion that feels most you right now? I think, would you still say it's tennis? Or you're open to exploring other sports or hobbies?
I'm open to explore a lot of other things as well, but probably not high rocks.
That was very intense,
I
right?
can't really do intense sports,
Yeah.
but yeah. I wouldn't limit myself to just like one or two things because there's definitely a lot of things that I will still need to learn. Now I'm actually quite into Korean, also because I've invested a lot of time on that. I would take like certain certification for that. Like I would say also one tip, if you are actually really into this particular thing, it's also good to get certified on something. But you never know that like probably you earn a side income in the future because of all these kind of things. I'm quite into TCM recently,
What's TCM?
the traditional Chinese medicine. So
Oh.
yeah, I'm quite into like taking care of myself, focusing on my mindfulness and everything. So I tried meditation recently and also TCM. So
What kind of meditation have you tried?
I would just sit and just think nothing. Just focus on my
Something like
breathing.
yoga, right?
Yeah, but I would
Oh.
just sit
Oh.
for about probably 15 to 30 minutes and just focus on my breathing. I just don't think about anything. Even though it's quite challenging at the start. You think of a lot
A
of
lot
other
of
things. Like even up to like food and also like in the next steps and everything. It will come. It's definitely helpful for me to focus on myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like TCM where I feel like at this stage where we're 26 and then we need to start eating healthy and also and all these kind of things. So I started like reading going to YouTube videos and everything to understand like how other cultures, like how Chinese cultures, like ancient Chinese people focus on their health and everything. Yeah.
Once you maybe have that skill, you can branch out to having your own business. And a lot of people, let's say after they're 26 or what, they are more focused on their health. They might seek you for all this?
I knew someone. He's about 40. Like he's actually about 50 now, and then he started picking up TCM 10 years ago. So he actually did all his like self study, and then he took the license in China. He did all this kind of studies on his own, and then he is now a certified TCM practitioner in China. And also, I've had a Malaysian friend I met in South Korea. She's into K-pop, and now she has like some freelancing job to do interpretation for K-pop idols in Malaysia. So I think it could potentially turn into like a side like income, like I mentioned just now. Yeah, but it's not the main purpose, I would say, for a lot of people.
I think all in all, like today's episode is really about chasing things that you truly like. We all tend to focus on all these traditional, like what our parents say, like, oh, this is what gets you the money. But at the end of the day, like, do we truly like it is one question that we need to ask ourselves. That's definitely a stable income, but you can always do something as a side income but brings you happiness and fuels you. I think for me, what's a hobby or passion that fuels most me right now is definitely podcasts. Like, I mean, if I were to talk about sports, I think I've echoed this a lot into this episode, is I haven't found anything that I truly like physically, but I think run club is something that I want to get involved. I maybe go with a friend or like a family member and just run. And I think I can also stay healthy. In terms of passion, is definitely podcasting. I think that really helps me. After a long week of work, like I truly feel myself again, and I like speaking to my guests and hearing their experience, because I'm someone who is a feeler. Like, I reconnect a lot through like my own mind, but also I love hearing other people and also learning from, like, let's say Karmen today. I've learned a lot.
But have I told you that I'm really proud of you for starting your
Oh,
podcast?
oh, maybe not until that deep level, but yeah, I know that Karmen
Yes.
supports me a lot with my
Yeah.
podcast, so I really appreciate it. Oh.
No, back when I was working on my way to work, it's about an hour journey, traffic jam. So I would actually listen to podcasts also, and also Patricia's podcast, and that really inspires me because like you focus a lot about yourself, and I've seen how you have grown also to this time that you actually what you like, and you know how to love yourself more.
Thank you. Thank you, Carmen. Yeah, because I think that's something that really touches me, because like through my all my other episodes also, when my guests, I tend to not only invite new people that I've met, but I really have that motivation to speak to my old friends and really reconnect with people, because people change throughout their lives, and I'm just someone that I just love hearing people's stories, and also mine inspires me also. So it's really nice to reconnect my friends, and from what they say, they see in me, like it touches me a lot lah, because I know how much self work I put in, and it's not an easy journey. So thank you, Carmen, and I'm really grateful, like I say, like to have you here today, taking your time to talk about your experience throughout this episode. Last but not least, sadly, we are the last question is, what advice then would you give to someone who feels lost or pressured to like what everyone else does, or as today's saying is FOMO, the fear of missing out?
I've seen this post or sort of like a trend on social media, and they say you need 5 types of hobby. So I will just read it out. The first, to be creative. Second, to build knowledge. Third, to make you money. Fourth, to build your mindset. Five, to keep you healthy. So to that, there's a lot of hobbies that you can actually think of and also to take up. Yeah. So that's a lot of like that. That's the first step. What are the things that you actually thought of when you hear about all this? So you can just start one by
Yeah.
one.
I think that's something the listeners can take away today, and maybe a homework, because if we have 5 different types, right, of hobbies that you can take on, you never know. Each one, you can pick one and then you can come at 5, or if not, you can always combine. Let's say one hobby you found that is creative and also can make you money, or it can be knowledgeable but also builds your mindset. This is something like people like me, like haven't found something like physically. I can always go back to these 5 things and try to tick off. If not, it's okay, because you still have a long way to go in your whole life to find out.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong. So
Yeah.
you never try, you never know.
That's a good one. Like there's never a right or wrong answer. It's more about what suits you most. Yeah.
Mm.
I think for me, what advice I would give someone who feels lost or pressure, especially if you're feeling the FOMO syndrome, I would first say I truly know how it feels because I was at that place in my life before. And I think a lot of people out there, even though we don't say it, we also feel it in some sort of way, especially when you're young, you're a teenager. I think my advice would be really just being gentle to yourself and don't expect so much from yourself. If it helps, like talk to a friend about it, or now we are blessed to have all these YouTube videos or Instagram stuff that we can easily find some answer. Or ChatGPT can help you.
Yeah.
Like you can maybe perhaps a way is write down what kind of person you are, like you describe yourself, and then ChatGPT is my best friend, like to share what new ideas I or hobbies I can try out. But I would say, like Carmen say, no right or wrong answer because at the end of the day, ChatGPT is not perfect. And if you feel like it doesn't match with you, it's then you staying open minded and you being adventurous to go out there and find new things because you never know, maybe through friends or through other social networks, you can find something that truly fills you.
It could be as easy as going out of your house. Or you go to a nearby
Mm,
park and then you'll see people doing different things. It could be people
mm,
jogging, badminton, tai chi, for example. And then you can just pick something. It doesn't have to
mm,
be expensive sport. You don't have to pay things that are already around you. You just need to take time to notice them.
Yeah, and also just to touch on the FOMO aspect about the fear of missing out, I think it's very important to know like you are not defined by how many friends you have or defined by what your friends like and you don't like. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing is you know yourself enough to know like what defines you is not others. And I think it's such a nice way of Carmen putting it, like it's okay if you don't share the same hobbies or you don't share the same interests as your friends, but you staying curious minded. I think the whole idea is that if you're curious, you go out there, you never know the things that you like, right? You attract people that are similar to you.
Yeah.
And not saying that your current friends are not the right friends, but there are other friends out there you can make. You're not only limited to the same pool. Like your whole life is that, let's say we are fortunate enough to get until like 50, 60 years old. Can you imagine like how many new friends you can make out of different ages and out of different groups? So you never know. You like something, right? Once you stay true to yourself, you attract people like that.
Yeah.
Similar minded. And that's
Mm-mm.
a very beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Carmen. I really enjoyed this session and I hope you did too. It's such a inspiring and also very insightful session. Like hearing what Carmen's shared, right? It's like it's so different but also I resonated so much from it. And I think the key takeaway from today is stay true to yourself and stay authentic. Once that happens, you also attract people like you and also you enjoy things that you truly love.
And thank you so much, Patricia, for having
Oh,
me
okay.
here.
Thank you.
Because those are really good prompts that, like, would help us think about a lot of things that we never really thought
Mm,
about, like our
mm,
hobbies. Like, it's not a thing that people always talk about because it's always
mm,
there. Yeah,
mm.
probably you can take this time to also think about what's your next step.
How do you find today's session, Carmen?
I think it's quite interesting because I kind of forgot like what kind of things I've done in the past. Like at
Mm,
the start, I actually named a few, but there's definitely more. Like as we
mm.
talk, I was like, oh, I've actually done this, but I probably should also do this. Yeah.
Yeah. So like what Carmen say, like today's homework is to start thinking about what you truly like and maybe challenge yourself to try out new things. Okay, if you like today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and put your comments. Bye. Stay tuned for the
Bye.
next episode.